Hello, and welcome to episode 21 of the BABYMETAL podcast. It's October 19th, 2019, here as we record. The podcast is a place where we gather on alternate weeks to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of BABYMETAL. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Hello, welcome back.
And Garrett.
Hello.
All right, so we are in the midst of a bunch of news, and there's too much to actually talk about in a single episode. So I think our plan is, perhaps you know, BABYMETAL has released a new album. We will talk about that album, but not this time. I think we're going to plan to do sort of in-depth review of that in the next couple of episodes. So even beyond that, there's a huge amount of news. Maybe the first thing to mention is that the U.S. tour has now concluded. And
went by fast.
Participating. Yes. So at the end of the last time we recorded, we had just gotten through Salt Lake City. And since then, they played in Las Vegas, in Tempe, in San Francisco, LA, Sacramento, Portland, and Seattle. So we will spend a bunch of time talking about the show in LA at the Forum later, but I think we can talk a little bit about the shows that have happened since then. There are a couple of notable things, possibly most notable there was the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, and then there was the Seattle show that closed off the whole tour. And Kevin, you were at those.
I was indeed.
Correct?
Yep.
So, report.
What's to say? Well, Paul, you guys have both been at shows so far this tour. It was excellent. I went to San Francisco, Sacramento, the Forum in LA, Portland, and Seattle. And it's speechless. Every time you see this group, you just leave awestruck and happy and sad that it's over. And on just an incredible high. And that was no different this tour. Some exciting things happened. They've been to so many new places. I got to see a bunch of cool new venues, so that was really fun. This was the longest, tour I've done as far as number of shows in a particular tour. So that was an interesting challenge that I suppose I could talk about if you want. Later. So that was a blast. I've only been back for 2 days or so now. My voice is still a little hoarse. Fighting off a little bit of a cold, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah, well, that would be a lot of fun, I think, to actually be able to hit several dates in a row. I myself have just went to two, right? Two, yeah. But separated by a month, even. But yeah, so what was I going to say? I guess the Avengers continued to alternate. So Las Vegas was Riho, Tempe was Momoko, San Francisco was Riho, LA was a special case, Sacramento was Momoko, Portland was Riho, and Seattle was Momoko. So no huge surprises there.
Though I will say one thing from Aftershock. That was the first time I had seen them at a festival, which was an experience in and of itself. It was really dusty. And we all had coughs and were exhausted after being in the sun and inhaling dust all day.
Were you there for the entire festival or just for BABYMETAL?
Just the Sunday of BABYMETAL. So the two acts that preceded them, and then I left after that.
Word.
One thing was interesting. It was Momoko's first festival, and she was sucking a lot of wind. you could tell being out in the sun and in the heat and that kind of thing was not something she was used to. You get Moa and Sue during their water breaks and interludes between songs. Just kind of relaxing. You can tell they're calm, drinking their water, and you can definitely see Momoko was quite tired.
Freaking out.
Well, no, not freaking out.
No.
Not freaking out, but definitely not quite as used to those conditions as the other two.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about. Well, I guess we'll come back to that. I'll mention it now because I'm thinking of it. But so I said the LA was a special case, and Momoko participated in that, and I was, she probably hasn't been in. That was a really big venue for her.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, I don't think that she's really had, I don't think that she's really had that large of a venue before, and but like spread before her. So.
Yeah, I don't think so. SG doesn't usually play venues with that kind of capacity, so
Right.
yeah, that's probably the most people she's performed in front of.
She was introduced at a festival, as I recall, but which is probably somewhat big, but still. The one thing that was just completely delightful was the staff in Seattle, the roadies setting up.
Oh yes, that was excellent, Rody Chan.
Okay, somebody fill me in. I missed that.
Yeah, so one of the guys' name we know, I want to say his name is Tyler. He tours with them just about every time they're in the U.S. And another one, the guys who tune the guitars, sound check the drums and mics and things like that on stage. They got their hair done. One of them had twin tails, the other one had Avenger hair.
That's awesome.
Complete with the I don't know what you call them, the sparkly, shiny silver bow things. And you can tell you can tell they didn't do them because they looked perfect. So
Yeah. Well, and I mean those were probably the real official actual whatever they are, scrunchies or whatever.
Absolutely. I'm sure they were.
So, I mean, I guess maybe they didn't need them anymore. They brought all these extras in case or whatever.
Yeah, you could tell they were having fun. They were smiling, and they got good reaction from the crowd and things like that. They were having fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I only saw photos and stuff from afar, but I thought that was just delightful.
Yes, it really was.
So the opening band for the shows after, for Portland and Seattle was The Who. What did you think of those? That band?
The Who was really interesting. You saw
Avatar also, right?
I did see both. Avatar also, yeah. Right off the bat, I'll say Avatar is definitely more my speed. The Who is definitely cool. You can tell that they're really passionate about their music and kind of representing their culture, and things like that. They definitely get into a good groove. They play, I don't even know what they're called, some sort of Mongolian instruments, two-string instruments, that were absolutely gorgeous. Really beautiful instruments that sounded pretty cool, and they wailed on them pretty hard, and kind of had a metal sound with them, so that was pretty sweet. I will say though that all of their songs almost sounded the same, like they really blended together for me. So it was kind of hard to stay into it. I could tell that the songs were different, but they didn't really sound all that different, if that makes sense. They all had a very similar rhythm, all in the same key. But yeah, I'm glad I saw them. It was cool. It was cool to see something super unique like that. Where else and when else am I going to be able to see a metal band from Mongolia? So I am thankful for that.
Actually, oddly, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but weirdly enough, it was like a month ago or something. I was just sort of taking my public transit home, and I looked over at a venue that it goes by, and they were playing, and I didn't know ahead of time, or I would have just because I knew that they were sort of approved of, I would have gone, but I didn't find out until the night that they were playing here. So
awesome.
But anyway,
yeah, I would say, if you get a chance to see them, check them out, support them. They're doing something cool. They're representing their culture, and they are really good at what they do. Yeah, I would check them out. I wouldn't go out of my way, but I'd see them once.
So over here, long distance, we were watching streams, trying to see what was happening, people Facebook streaming and stuff, and somebody did do a Facebook stream of The Who. And I was actually, it was clear it was somebody who was really quite into it and knew all the words and stuff like that. And of course, after The Who played, he went outside and started streaming something outside. He didn't even stay for BABYMETAL. So
Yeah,
it was
that happened twice, both in Portland and Seattle. There was a ton of people there for the Who. Um, the ones I saw at Portland stayed and ended up really enjoying Baby Metal. There was a group of 3 definitely Mongolian natives, or at least of Mongolian ancestry, that were right behind me in Seattle that just disappeared after the Who.
well, I guess, I mean, that's cool too. It leaves more space for the Baby Metal fans.
Yeah. I mean, I leave after Baby Metal when they're not the headliners, so I don't blame them.
Yeah. Right.
I usually leave.
But so let's see, the other thing that was sort of notable, I think, about Seattle was that they sort of acknowledged it as the end of the tour. They sort of, it's almost like they knew we were watching the whole tour. And, so at the very end, they did this like fairly elaborate bow and, said, this is the last show of the tour and stuff.
Thank you for supporting us.
Cool.
Yeah. It was really special. And the after show photo we got is really special, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
Did you catch the little detail that they didn't delete? And I'm shocked they didn't delete and retake the photo.
Yeah, I find that really just weird, but go ahead.
So it's very obvious that they had a cake celebrating the end of their tour that had coconut flakes all over it. And that as soon as the show ended, Moa went straight for the cake and started eating cake. And then they decided to take a photo because her face is covered in coconut in that photo. And it's just the best.
So I guess that means that all this food talk that we hear in interviews is, real. somewhat real, sincere.
Yeah. It's so good. Oh, I was just dying laughing when I saw that.
So the tweet actually said, thank you for joining us on the Metal Galaxy US tour. See you next time. You spelled with just a U.
Yeah.
Now crank up the new album. And so of course people were sort of thinking, well, that doesn't sound very Koba-like. Who typed that? But anyway, yeah. So it's kind of hard to believe that it's over now, but. So
yeah,
the only shows that we know of that are left in 2019 are November 16th to 17th in Japan and 20th and 20th, in Saitama Super Arena, and then November 20th and 21st in Osaka Joe Hall, and then this Clock and Flap thing in Hong Kong on November 23rd.
Ah, yes.
Perhaps.
The Clock and Flap.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So, not much left in this year.
Again, good job saying Clock and Flap.
Thank you. I pride myself in the pronunciation of that word.
I lack the testicular fortitude to even attempt saying that.
That's a term that I will treasure forever. Let's see. So the another thing that I thought was kind of interesting that I think sort of corresponded with the end of the forum maybe was people started tweeting, like supporting stuff started tweeting. So Strictly FX tweeted about the forum show, and I think they were responsible for the pyrotechnics and All Access Staging, who was responsible for the big stage that we'll talk about. They tweeted.
Yeah.
And some of the songwriters too, like co-writer of Dada Dance tweeted, sort of saying like, we're happy about this album. I'm proud to be participating in it. Meg Metal, who mixed like almost the entire album, tweeted about it. Taka Metal, writer of Distortion, tweeted about it, and Nori Metal, composer of Night Night, Burnout, and Arcadia, and other stuff. So we're getting a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, the stage guys, the pyro guys, just about everybody who had a hand in the forum, I think, tweeted about what they did, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So, okay, let's see. The main, what else? I guess, so we can maybe move on to the events. So they released an album,
Yeah.
And so, although I think we are going to talk about the content of the album later, for the most part, there's a bunch of stuff to talk about the release itself and other things that happened on that day, the concert that happened, the release concert. So let's see, maybe I'll just start with just on the actually on the same day as the release, Wow Wow showed the Yokohama show from June, so that's cool. Maybe we can talk about that for a second. I didn't get to see it. I mean, like, I saw it later, but
I still haven't seen it, so
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
yeah. Well, Kevin, you saw it actually happen, so.
Well, true, but I haven't seen the rebroadcast.
Yeah. Yeah. So they aired it on October 11th. I was like in a plane at the time, but it's the second night of the first pair. So June 29th, I guess this is. It's the footage from which the Papaya video came from. And so what's cool about it, I did eventually watch it, and it is really cool to see the actual live version of Papaya when it was basically debuted, because it's so much better. Just hearing F-Hero participating, and I don't know, it's definitely worth watching. They didn't have the whole thing, so I was kind of waiting to see Shanti Shanti Shanti, that first sort of like debut of it, but it was not.
Oh, they didn't.
It wasn't on it.
So weird. I didn't know they didn't include that.
Yeah, they also didn't include Java. So
interesting.
I think so. What
I guess Java
say,
doesn't really surprise me. Mm-hmm. with them wanting to, I'm sure, focus on new content. So dropping Java kind of makes sense from an editing standpoint.
But I find Shanti 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 weird, though. I think it's conceivable they maybe held it for the Blu-ray. So now I'm sort of extra. I feel like this gives me extra reason to believe that there's going to be a Blu-ray of this that will differ from WoW WoW, just like has happened in the past.
My guess is it'll come as a set. You're going to buy the one edition of, what is it? The Sun Also Rises and Legend M.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory. Fox Day. Yeah. You're going to get a two Blu-ray set that has a series of both shows.
I hope so.
Because they've been doing the whole Sun and Moon motif pretty hard and leaning into that just about every chance they get. So I guess that's why it wouldn't surprise me that they would sell those two together in a package that are Sun and Moon editions or whatever.
Yeah. And it's been pretty consistent, I think. Well, I don't know, at least as long as I've been paying attention. So Big Fox Festival, Legend S, I think both of those differed in the WoW WoW broadcast by like a couple of songs from the Blu-ray release. What's frustrating about Big Fox Festival particularly is that the Blu-ray doesn't have the whole thing. Like, if you want everything, you have to have both the WoW WoW broadcast and the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Frustrating.
But anyway, so see that if you get a chance. If you can find some gray market way to do so. I mean, of course, there's no really legitimate way to see it, but you know somebody who knows how to get it.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So, Metal Galaxy came out. And as we're recording this, actually, I think the previous episode of the podcast didn't go out yet, so, but whatever. All our predictions were no doubt true by now. I forget even what they were.
Yeah, me too.
But, so there was a special event at Tower. I forget what Tower we said last time, but that basically as soon as the clock ticked over to October 8th, they started giving out the album to the people in the store. And then I think sorry?
That was Tower Shibuya, I think, wasn't it?
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was a pretty big event. And so a lot of people got it. People took photos and tweeted about it. No one that I knew leaked anything, though. So there was a sort of a tense day where it's like, I know people are listening to this, and I cannot hear it.
It took a really long time. I will say I got a gray market copy. I'm not proud of it, but I did because I couldn't wait. I mean, well, hell, I bought like 14 versions of this anyway, so
You deserve it.
I did end up getting a great copy of it about midday on the 8th.
You deserve it for the 2 exclusives alone.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't, but as soon as it turned, like the next day in Japan, Ototoy had it. So, and oh my
right.
gosh, was that expensive? But I did buy another one from Ototoy, which allowed, it's the Japanese edition. It's all digital, and it was like $40. It was just absurd for like an extra 24 hours. But
we got AACs though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't FLAC or anything. It was just But so ASmart worked quite well for me. I had all of my Japan editions that I ordered from them in hand by the 9th. So that's still 2 days before the alleged release date in the US. Which is amazing, actually.
Yeah. It's actually great to get that early.
Yeah. So I got everything because, I'm insane. But have you guys seen the Sun and Moon editions?
I have.
Did you want to talk about them?
I haven't seen them in person. I don't have mine yet. I only bought the Moon, though.
You're talking about the artwork?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Right.
I've heard it mentioned a couple of times, but I don't exactly know what's up. Is it really good, or is it something else?
It's... Well, I think they are gorgeous.
Okay,
I like them
agree
a
with
lot.
you there. But, like, I don't know, the way... The rumors... I didn't really hear any rumors, but the way people were... If I saw talking about it, it seemed like there was possibly something negative about them, like there was a misprint or something. But I didn't actually know for certain.
No, they're... I mean, so the Sun and Moon editions, each of them contain the entire album, which is...
Yeah.
For the Japanese edition, it's 2 discs. The discs themselves inside the Sun and Moon editions are not particularly artistic. I mean, they're kind of bland looking. But the cover art on and the container, the thing that holds the discs is 12-inch LP sized. So it's big and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
It has a lyric book inside with a bunch of art on it too. So it has all the lyrics, but they're it's sort of like a special edition lyric book as well. And it's big. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with them. I think they're really nice.
I like them better than the previous special versions of previous albums. These ones actually feel special.
Yeah. No, they're not enough more expensive for me to feel like there was any question about them being worth it. But I mean, like, and I suppose there probably are people who get just one,
I
find it hard to understand those people, but you did?
I only got the Moon, yeah.
See, I don't understand you.
But that's all I needed. That's all I needed. That's all anybody needs. That's all anybody needs.
But anyway, they are really, really nice. The one edition, I think I'm a little less keen about the one edition. So the one edition came in it's quite a bit like the one edition of the previous albums. It's sort of like it has a case, and it has a sort of a fold out 12, again, a sort of like 12-inch LP sized thing. And it has the 2 discs in it, and it comes with the Legend M Digest DVD, which we can maybe talk about a little bit later. But that's about it. It doesn't even have the nice lyric book. It has the little lyric book that comes with the regular Japanese one.
Right.
The cover art is very well. So there was speculation that the cover would be sort of like shining foil. It looks like it could look like a foil print of some kind, but it isn't. So
yeah, I'm not sure how it stands up to versus the Sun and Moon. Whenever it's the one edition, it's supposed to be like nicer, but I don't know. That's kind of neat, I guess.
the material's nice. I mean, like they're always they feel nice, you know.
Mhm.
And the Legend M DVD is really the selling point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't super expensive. I mean, I guess that's true. It's not like I think the Five Fox Festivals one was like in US dollars comes out to like $350 or something, you know, quite insane. I believe that the one edition of the Metal Galaxy album was under 100. It was like 90 something, I think.
9,900 yen, I think.
Yeah. So it was, you know, whatever. I mean, I sort of feel like it could have been better in various ways. The main way I think it could have been better is that they could have given us something that wasn't a DVD.
Blu-ray?
At least a Blu-ray.
But then why would you buy the Blu-ray of Legend M, Paul?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, is that, you know, that's pretty much exactly what I'm sure they're thinking, and it's frustrating.
Yes. You're just going to have to wait.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so, yeah, maybe I'll just mention something about that anyway, now since I'm talking about it. But so the one edition came with this DVD that has a digest of the Legend M show, which is the second, you know, everybody knows this, but it's the second pair of shows in Japan. They were in early July 6th and 7th, I think. And in fact, those were the shows where the footage for the Elevator Girl English version video came from, and something else too, right? Wasn't there something else from there? Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
Shanti,
anyway.
Shanti?
Yes. That's it.
Yeah.
I knew there were two.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, it's a DVD, which means it's 480p. You know, it's not very high definition at all, but it does include Moa's version of Headbanger, which is that's the thing. That's why you want this.
That's why you spent $100.
Yeah. It does not include Yava, Gimme Chocolate, Karate, Future Metal, Shine, or Arcadia. So it is a true digest. It's not short, but it's missing a lot of stuff. So more reason to think that there's going to be a real one later.
Gonna have to wait to see the real version of Shine.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's so the version of Shine that they did at Legend M was really kind of epic. And it kind of looks like it's not going to be repeated. So they're gonna have to release this on a Blu-ray. I'm just sure of that, but they haven't done it yet. So in a sense, what we got is an ad, I think, you know, with the one edition, because the DVD is going to be just obsolete as soon as the Blu-ray comes out.
I'm guessing Fox Day.
Okay, that sounds good. That actually sounds kind of far away. I don't know. This is somewhere in the show notes, but I think we do know that Wow Wow is going to air the forum in January. So that's presumably gonna also be on a Blu-ray. And I hope they don't wait 3 months just for no good reason, just to wait for Fox Day, but maybe.
Yeah, I'm guessing. My guessing is it'll be the incentive to re-up the one membership.
Yeah.
It will be the first item of the 2021 membership. 2020, comma, 1 membership.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be frustrating. It would be nice if this year's covered most of this stuff, but all right.
You would hope.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. What else? They did a little spot for Spotify Japan that was kind of cute. I don't know. You can see that on Twitter. The way they pronounce Spotify is very pleasing. Or Sue does, I guess. It's for Spotify Japan, but yet it's in English. I don't know.
Yes.
Bo tweeted recommending buying the album. I thought that was quite cool.
Bo and Isao.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
He did. And I think Did I see something? I think just those two. Actually, Omura might have also. I'm thinking back to that week. It's been a while.
Uh-huh.
I remember being shocked that they all mentioned something, which I don't know if it's significant or not.
Well, they didn't. I think they sort of. At least Bo just said something like, he showed a picture of it and just said like bye. It was really very, very minimal message. But
who did I see? I think it was Leda on Twitter saying, because he did they released the tab for Arcadia in a Japanese guitar magazine, and he said, buy this one. The tab is accurate because I wrote the tab and I played it on the album, so it's the definitive version of the song.
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
I guess there's two interesting things there. The fact that they admitted to playing on the album, and that he was saying, buy this one because it's the correct tab.
Yeah, he was pretty funny. It was, like number one most accurate or something like that. But yeah, so maybe we can transition to that. Well, maybe I'll say one more thing and then we can go to interviews and magazines, which will come back to the young guitar thing. But the charts, I have no idea how it's doing on the charts. I think it's doing well, but nobody knows how to interpret these charts.
Yeah, it's really hard to track.
Yeah,
I know it was like number 1 in the United States the day of launch.
On iTunes.
On iTunes, yeah. Number 2 on 2 different charts. Those are number 1 and 2, but I don't know which ones. I don't know for how long either.
It didn't last very long, because by the time I saw the tweet that it was number 1, it would fall into number 8, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, and different places used metrics differently. So I think at least Billboard maybe counts physical objects, like physical CDs, much higher than streaming and much higher than
maybe
digital purchasing. But how everybody weights these things is different, and like the time span is different. So it becomes really hard to figure. I think they made it into the top 10 in the UK. And of course, then you also have to wonder, like, are we filtering on metal? Are we filtering on anything? Are we, like, what is the category? So I think it's doing well, basically.
While we're talking about that, it was really interesting that after they started touring with The Who, they hit the charts in Mongolia.
Perfect. Yeah, that's excellent.
I don't remember. They cracked top 10 Mongolia. I don't remember exactly where they ended up, but I thought that was fun.
Yeah. And that is an interesting sort of like side effect, because they're not even on the album. So.
Yeah. I guess The Who, that speaks to their popularity in Mongolia. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it might be a little bit like F-Hero in a way that insofar as that the nation is proud of it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But okay, anyway. So there are a bunch more things to say about magazines and stuff, and maybe we don't need to say all of these things, but so Loudwire has now the second part of the interview with Graham Hartman. We were promised that there was going to be a second part. We saw the first part. I forget what the first part was. They talked a little bit about Yui and stuff, and the second part is what we tell our younger selves. And
yes.
It's also short, but also delightful.
Very much so. I don't, how do we do this? I mean, there is an overwhelming amount of content, if I'm honest. I don't think we can talk about it all. Check out our show notes. We are going to link everything on our show notes and just touch on the highlights, I think, because there is an overwhelming amount of information out there and interviews and videos that is just required reading and watching at this point.
I think at least 2 hours of self-maintained content. Like, if you sat down and read everything, you got at least 2 hours by yourself. Like, having 3 guys explain it goes by pretty quick, but there's a lot of information here.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
I mean, I guess one thing I might hope is that if you're like listening to this and not sure how to allocate your time, maybe we can help. Actually, maybe you should be reading and not listening to this. But at any rate, if you're not going to read everything, we can at least tell you what we thought was exciting. But yeah, so the Loudwire interview. I mean, they're the way they interact with the interviewer is just great. I mean, like they're very sort of relaxed with each other. But so Graham asks, Moa, I forget actually even what it was, but it was something sort of like, why do you think people love you so much? And she's like, you're asking me? I have no idea. I would like to know too.
Yeah.
He complimented Moa's English, and honestly, Moa really hit it out of the park in this interview.
She did.
She was amazing. I mean, Sue's always good in interviews. This time, actually, it was a little bit interesting because she spent a lot of time searching for words. but yeah, Moa is amazing. So
you can definitely see the difference in their personalities. I think their English level's probably about the same, but you can tell, Sue's brain is just going a mile a minute, and her mouth is trying to keep up, and it's not working so great. Whereas Moa just kind of takes a second, collects herself, thinks about what she's going to say, and then says what she's going to say in English.
Yeah. Anyway, must watch, and it's like 3 minutes or something like that, so you can watch it repeatedly.
Yeah, definitely give it a watch.
There was I guess this had to do with an upcoming broadcast that WoW was going to have for Summer Sonic Tokyo. We saw a little bit of BABYMETAL playing at Summer Sonic on a live stream, and WoW was going to broadcast some of it. I don't know if it's going to be more than the live stream had or not, but there was a little interview that went along with that, and I don't know actually what they said in it because it wasn't translated when I looked at it, so it exists. But anyway, yeah.
More watching. Go watch.
Yeah. Consequence of Sound did an interview, another video interview. This one, I mean, I don't know. Take a look at it. I guess basically I felt sort of sympathetic and sad for the interviewer because he was so sort of like nervous and
yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think that's the right word. You could tell he was nervous. Trying to get through this interview.
Yeah, he had his questions on the cards, and I kind of feel like maybe he was admonished ahead of time, like, do not deviate from the card.
It could be.
So
I guess that's important to note too, that you are going to get a lot of repeat in some of these interviews, a lot of only the Fox God knows, a lot of kind of generic answers. Just this is a good time just to remind yourself that this is still a very tightly controlled product, and while they're giving interviews, they're not necessarily free to just talk about anything. They're definitely following an outline.
Right. Yeah, I think I remember thinking initially with the Consequence of Sound interview that it he tried to have kind of like an interesting question at the beginning. In the end it didn't work out, but I think the Loudwire ones worked better. Just because I think they just trust him more. But
yeah, who knows? And I don't know the Consequence of Sound guy. Maybe the Loudwire guys interviewed them before, so it was kind of old hat for him. And I'm sure he's interviewed lots of other cool and famous people. So just another day at work for him.
Right. Okay, let's see. So, bunch of magazines. Revolver, just recently, is going to feature in the October-November 2019 issue. BABYMETAL will be featured on the cover. It will be released October 22nd. You can buy that if you want. There's a newsstand link, or you probably find some other way to buy it. And let's see. So the Revolver also has a special box set that has 3 additional covers, a box that holds it, a year's subscription that's released on December 6th and costs $66.66. It's really, well, what do you think?
So one of these in the back of my brain says it's this one because I know people that pre-ordered it and canceled it because it's a Japanese exclusive.
It's Rock Sound,
And
actually.
Is it Rock Sound or this one?
It's Rock Sound.
Okay. Disregard. I'll remind you for Rock Sound.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess maybe I can just finish the revolver one, but
Yeah.
It's basically, I don't know what to think about this. I mean, essentially, you get 3 additional photos, the covers, and then you get an additional photo that is the box. You have to think of something to do with a year's worth of this magazine. And yeah, so I, in the end, did cave in on it, but
of course you did.
I just don't know. This one feels pretty cynical.
I'm not really a magazine person to begin with.
Yeah.
It's not something I need to collect because it'll just sit in the box. I'll look at it and I'll never look at it again. And I know the photos will get scanned and put online the day of or the day after it gets released. So it's not something I felt I needed to buy.
Yeah, and that is very sensible, and I should be more like you in that respect. But
yes, you should, because then you can do things like fly to Japan, and that's where you should spend your money.
That's right.
Spend your money going to shows.
Okay, Rock Sound. Yes. So we mentioned this. I think this made it into the previous episode. I'm not sure, but issue 258, November 2019. What we thought we knew was that BABYMETAL was on the cover of the BABYMETAL was on the cover. Actually, go ahead now. Say your thing.
I still think it's Revolver, but I'll say it here. So if you buy this, it's a Japanese exclusive. If you order it from Newsstand or anywhere else outside of Japan, you will not get the BABYMETAL cover.
Yeah.
That's
not clear.
And that was not clear. I know several people who canceled their orders.
So if you can buy the one that actually has BABYMETAL on the cover from Amazon Japan, though that's released later too, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway, yeah, you have to buy sort of a special version of it, which for some reason they're only selling in Japan. So otherwise I forget who it is, 21 Pilots or something. There's somebody else on the cover.
Somebody we don't care about.
Yeah, right. However, so let's see. There's a poster too, and the poster does not come in the non-Japan edition, but it's a double-sided 8-page large poster, so it's big. It's supposed to have an interview, photo shoot, 25 pages it says. So
well, it could be one character per page.
See, no, I'm finding this surprising because I thought I saw a scan of the non-Japan edition, and it was like 4 pages.
Oh, see, it's really hard to keep track of all of these magazines.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking, like, we might be entering. I think you are right that we're entering into a point where we just can't mention everything.
No.
Like, can you imagine being like, I don't know what's a big, like a Duran Duran fan back in the 80s or something? Like, you're not going to keep track of everything.
Yeah, this is really difficult. I wasn't around for the Metal Resistance launch. I was around in 2016, but not till much after the album dropped. So this is all new for me, and it's overwhelming the amount of stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually. To the same thing that like this is my first experience with this, so I don't really know what Metal Resistance was like, but it's a wild ride.
It really is. Well, I can tell you that they didn't do a 2021 stop U.S. tour with Metal Resistance.
That's true. Yeah.
It feels like more. It just feels like more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this is larger scale, but
yeah.
Let's see. So there were a couple other things I wanted to say about magazines. There's one big one actually, but Young Guitar. We mentioned that before. I now have it in hand. So,
excellent.
And
you can learn to play Arcadia.
Which guitar?
Young Guitar, November 2019 issue.
Oh, the magazine.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you said the Arrow guitar. I'm like, hold on, what?
Yeah, no.
Not yet.
No, that one I have not quite brought myself to collect. Yeah.
It'll be there someday.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But so it is amazing. So maybe I should also say we were getting a bunch of stuff. We're getting all these magazines, but the majority of them are in Japanese. So we don't have translations of a lot of stuff. And the young guitar has a lot in it. So I forget where was it. I thought I had this written down somewhere, but it's, I think they claimed it was something like 99 pages or something like that. It's huge. A lot of that is transcription of distortion and Arcadia. So as you would expect. Yeah. But I was surprised that there's actually like playing notes for every song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Every song on the new album?
Yeah.
No kidding. Well, that's cool.
Like little not the full transcriptions of the songs, but little bits of it and little discussions about how like the tuning works and stuff.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And those things were created by Yusuke Hiraga, who is a kami guitarist in Singapore and Australia. So he did everything except for the Arcadia description, because that's what Leda did.
Right.
So they got direct from the horse's mouth or whatever. People talking about this.
It's so wild to me that they could admit to doing that, and I wonder if that's significant in some way.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, none of the kami have ever been able to acknowledge the fact that they do this stuff on their social media. You could catch a Bo stream occasionally where he would play snippets of BABYMETAL and talk about it. No details about being on tour or anything, but he would play parts of songs or things like that, and interact with his chat and stuff like that. But that was really it. Nothing ever on Twitter or any social media. Certainly not in a magazine. I don't know. Part of me thinks that that's significant in some way. I don't know what way yet, but
right.
Keep that in the back of your mind, maybe.
Yeah. So what else to say? Oh, the photos are fabulous in this as well. I think we talked about the cover before, but it's, they have on the cover, Sue and Mo are holding these, I think we decided they were 9-string guitars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like absurd numbers of strings.
Okay, I'm gonna defend that statement. Extended range is great. I've played 6-string since I was like, I want to say like 5th grade or 6th grade, and then I just recently got a 7th string in the past 6 months, and it's sweet. And now I want an 8-string. But like, I'm 99% sure Starlight. I think you have to have either. I think it's an 8-string guitar to even play Starlight.
Interesting.
I don't think they use an 8-string on tour.
Maybe not. They might have 7-string downtuned.
It could be,
but it's special. Like, it's really low. Like, I'm not sure they sell strings at my local guitar center that thick.
Interesting.
I think it's more of a regional problem, but.
Huh.
Well, and if you want, the notes on how to do it, Young Guitar November 2019 will tell you.
Yep, surely.
There's so much in there, and I don't know what any of it says. I can sort of read the music notation, but I don't know what the words are.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to reading that, but we're a ways away from that yet. Let's see, Metal Hammer. I got my Metal Hammers. I don't think there's a lot to say about that. Have I talked about the art prints? Maybe not. But there was a Metal Hammer had a bundle that had like an art print that came with it that was like specially numbered, and it wasn't really worth it. It was like slightly less colorful than the non-numbered edition, and so I don't know. The big one, I think the big one to mention is what yeah, all right. Kevin, you were totally right before we started about like how there was no chance we would have time to get to the review of the album.
See? Sometimes I'm right.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm right.
Yeah, I think that might actually be the case. The big one is PMC Volume 15. We have a translation of, so there's a bunch of stuff in that. One of the things that they do, like that they have, a feature they have, is 100 questions. So they ask 100 questions of the various people, that they interview. Baby Metal is on the cover of this one. I think they might have done 100 questions with them before, like in the distant past. But anyway, Lenzer has translated this, and that is amazing. So obviously we can't go through all of the stuff here, but they're really something. Is there anything that you wanted to highlight in there?
There's one. I'm going to post it in the chat here. It's question 68. What does Sue Metal think has changed about Moa Metal? Did she grow up or something like that? And Sue Metal responds, her technique to catch the mosquitoes. Like, that's such... And that's it. I love it. I was sitting in a lawn chair in my living room watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And I read that, and I just burst into tears laughing.
Yeah.
My favorite is question 50 because it's so endearing. What would you do if the elevator would actually stop in hell? Referencing to Elevator Girl lyrics. Moa Metal responds, that's impossible. But if it would stop in hell, I would change it to a paradise. And that is just so wholesome. I love it.
Yeah. I think that is pretty wild.
I collected a list of ones that I liked. Almost if I can pull it up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The very first question, in fact, I love that. How do you feel right now, Moa Metal? Probably without hesitation. I'm hungry. I want to eat fried chicken.
Yeah. Just like staying right on message.
I know idol tropes are a thing, and you always have the shy one, the one who loves food, and that thing, that whole stuff. And I know that they're not exempt from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't tell if it's just become who she is over the years, or if that's just not a trope at all. Because you have answers like this all the time. You have the photo with the cake that we talked about earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am pretty convinced that they're coached initially to pick something, and stick with it and be consistent. But, Moa is very consistent on this, but I still believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about, so there's it's actually surprising. This format oddly does kind of like lend itself to a couple of kind of interesting things. But so question 8 was about like what was the toughest tour or live show overseas? How tough was it? And Moa Metal says on last year's America tour, the first day performance in Kansas was difficult. So the Kansas City, Missouri show. It was very sad to see everyone's looks and awareness about our different performance, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sad now. But yeah, it's I thought another thing I thought was interesting. So question 9, how did the first day with the new formation at Yokohama Arena performance feel, and how did you approach it? And Sue Metal says, with 2 people as the core, it was like rebuilding the setup. It's like a new group. That's how I think about it. So I thought that was kind of an interesting perspective in a way, because I sort of feel the same way. It kind of feels like not quite the same. Like I don't
it
like.
It feels like a phoenix. It feels like it burned itself out in 2018 and is reborn this year.
Yeah. So it worked. What the plan worked. I guess.
It did.
There was I think there was something that was quite interesting. We did talk about Legend M and Shine a bit. And so some of these questions actually talked a bit about that specific performance, the Legend M stuff in Nagoya. And so whatever, I'll skip question 22. I said, you had the challenge of playing the guitar live. When did you start playing? And Moa Metal says, was it 2nd or 3rd grade? Something like that. Yeah. But it doesn't matter what the answer is. The main thing is they appear to believe that she played it live. And question 23, let's see, was it even a challenge for you? It honestly seemed like you had a lot of confidence. And Metal says, at first the chords I got were difficult to play, but after the second or third time it got easier to play.
I'll confess to being a doubter of her actually playing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I thought too. But
yeah, but it's kind of contradictory. She says she does it, but I'm gonna believe. I'll take her word for it. It's whatever. It's not. I'm not too emotionally invested in it.
Right. We know for sure that even if she played at the beginning, she didn't play the same part of the song at the end. But it does seem like she was doing that part at the beginning. If from what this says. So,
as the one who was there, I choose to believe she played that live until I have definitive proof from a Blu-ray, because I was in a pit. I didn't get a rate. You look at it, that she did not.
I mean, I believe that she is capable of it for sure. So
yes,
I
like to think she's playing it on the album too.
That would be cool.
Because there's no reason for her not to, because she can take as many takes as she needs.
Yeah, I think
so.
Even if possible.
Even if she didn't play it at Legend M, those first few bars, I think it's worth speculating that she's playing it on the album. Otherwise, why would they make a big deal about it? We got pick items at Legend M you can buy. Several interviews at this point have referenced it, so she played it at some point.
Yeah. So there's other stuff that's interesting in here. I mean, I would say probably 60% of these questions are quite
food
interesting.
Related. Oh,
well, yeah, there's a number of food related ones, but there are some things that kind of tie in a little bit with the songs of the album that maybe we can come back to, I guess. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to highlight in these?
There's I had it down that I gotta find it again. I took when they were learning new English words. Metal recently learned vertical and horizontal, and Moa learned the phrase "You're on fire."
I don't know why that made me laugh, but I thought that was hilarious.
It was very funny.
Of course, You're on Fire made me think of was it NBA Jam, that arcade game from kind of the late 90s?
Yeah,
You're on fire.
Yeah, I hear it. There was another one. It says, question 78: is there a place or country you want to go? Momel says the South region. Australia is a lovely country, and I want to go there again, as well as other countries in the South. So, feel acknowledged, Australia, that you want to go back.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, wants to maybe miss the koalas and wants to go.
Yeah. I bet they hit Oceania again.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Question 81: if a time machine would exist, to what time would you go back, or would you want to go into the future? And Mom says,
deep.
Oh, sorry.
Also, this is a deep question, or the deep answer. This one.
Yeah, she says the future. There's nothing that can change the past. Changing the people from the past feels like breaking the rules, because everyone was thinking for their own. And
okay, drop the script, Moa. Come on. No.
I mean, I think that's...
I actually really thought that deep was really for
something.
I mean, I think it is. That's something to go by.
Yeah. I mean, it surprised me in a way, like the kind of depth of that answer. She said something else, question 38. What can you say about the metal galaxy, and what was the inspiration behind it? And Metal does this like really philosophical thing. It's like, since olden times, humanity has gazed into the sky, looked at the stars and moons, and desired to let their minds wander far away. It is about everyone's dreams and desires, the future and wishes. The metal galaxy is something similar, full of thoughts and things we think that that's what the future of metal feels like. And it's like, oh, what are you doing? You're not talking about cheesecake. So
she's always kind of been like that. I think. You can go back to SG. She's very careful about what she says and very thoughtful. But of all of the interviews we got and everything we've talked about the last hour, I think this is the one. If you can only pick one, read these 100 questions, because they definitely feel the most sincere to me, and you learn a lot about not only the music and the albums, but about who these ladies are.
Yeah.
And what drives them. The reason they play their shows. No, I'm joking. I want to read one more question here.
Sure.
Question 93 is the cheesecake one. I gotta read it. Was there anything in recent years that made you so excited that you couldn't sleep? BABYMETAL. The most excited I got recently was when I ate delicious cheesecake. And same, honestly. Like, I don't know when the last time y'all had some really good cheesecake, but like, it turns a frown upside down for sure, real quick.
I can't imagine that that's the first thing that comes to mind for anybody.
No, I can't agree.
What is the most exciting thing that happened to you?
I had a really good
that one cheesecake.
I don't know. I was on in a van on tour with somebody who claims to have a religious experience and was brought to tears by an omelet. So, and I saw the tears happen with the omelet. So, you never know.
All right. Was it? Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see. So maybe we can pull away from the media. Mention quickly something which is probably much more. It's a big deal for the people who it affects, but they announced a world tour in Asia. So there are now 3 more dates that we had Taipei in April, I think, before, but now there's March 22nd in Bangkok, March 27th in Kuala Lumpur, and March 29th in Jakarta. So this
Bangkok is going to be insane, especially if F-Hero shows up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That show has potential to be insane.
Yeah, this is and this is really turning into an actual world tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 days after Fox Day, even.
They're up to like 50 dates between U.S., Europe, Asia, Japan. Somewhere around 50, maybe closer to 60. This is a real world tour, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't believe
the Southern Hemisphere.
There's so much left. I mean, like, the U.S. tour was already huge.
Mm-hmm. It's like, going back to the interviews, they say that they're excited to see what comes in their future. Like, it gets me kind of thinking, too, like, this world tour, they've already done the United States. Like, what are they going to do when they wrap up this tour? They just dropped a new album. Like, are they going to start writing a new album this quick? Are they going to do another tour? Or are they just
Oceania and South America?
Oceania and South America, yeah. And then once after that, there's a cycle. There has to be some kind of cycle here.
Yeah. A vacation for these girls because they have earned it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this would be a good place to break the episode. In the next episode, we will talk about the album release concert that took place at the Forum on October 11th, 2019 for Metal Galaxy. There's plenty to talk about there, and so we're going to save that for its own episode. And so I will say, that's it for this episode. You can join us on the Baby Metal Podcast Discord to continue the conversation. Rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it, so please do that. We'll be back here in about 2 weeks. We hope you'll join us, and until then, see you.